Hello. This is my first recording in a while. I probably said that last time too, but I haven't been recording much lately. Sometimes I fall out of love with chess for a bit. Yeah, let's play in English. And have been less excited the last week or two. We're early in the new year, so this will be published in March or whatever. But sometimes you feel a bit down. All right, I think I want to play d4 against this, and I think I take on c6, then take on e5 and trade queens, and then their whole h5, h4 maneuver isn't very helpful to them. I think I have time for hg3. My point is on d5, I trade queens, their pawn structure is kind of broken up. They have the two bishops, it's not the end of the world for them. It seems like, given that they're taking some time here, they're going to play queen g5 or queen e7 and try to give up the material. Now, I don't want to get mated, obviously. So how can we avoid getting mated? King g2 doesn't help. I could play f4, king f2, and get away to e1, maybe? Yeah, let's try that. This was just an idea I saw in a GM game. I never actually looked at it myself, which is probably means I wasn't quite ready to throw it out, this d5 response. But I am a pawn. They can, of course, regain, but then their structure is a little silly. If they play queen h2, I play king e1. I would make just a developing move. I like bishop g4 for them. Now, I was thinking maybe queen a4 check. Or queen a4, because it's really hard for them to defend c6. And it sort of creates potentially a little more space for my king to get out. Not sure how useful it is. I want to play bishop d2, but my king might also need that square. Totally missed that that move existed. So let's play bishop d2. Now have the threat of rook h1, which would force them to trade their queen for two rooks and alleviate some of the pressure. So I would expect queen h2, king e1. And I will always take back knight on e2 to keep g3 defended, so they can't play queen h2 takes g3. Still on c6, so it's hard for them to move their knight. I can't take a6 ever because of bishop e3 check, picking up my queen. They just sidestepped that one. Alright, well, I think I do want to take the opportunity to get their queen off the board. Yeah. But I still have problems. There's still rook h2, which can be very annoying. So I need a few more precise moves. King g2, maybe? Where does their rook go? Its only safe square on the back is a1. Every other square I have defended. The queen, for instance, covers d1. Alright, now I might have a little more time to move my pieces up. Hit c6. d5 defends c6. I missed that. So against d5, I probably have to play fe5, which is not really what I wanted. Okay. I don't want to allow a discovered check. Do I want to go to g1? Maybe. Maybe, because then they don't have rook h2 once the bishop moves. And that is their potential activity. I would now expect bishop d7. They just resigned. Okay. I think they're worse. I wouldn't have guessed this was lost. The computer thinks they're equal. Weird resignation. Yeah. Curious. Alright, well, I'll take it. 1 for 1. Good start. I think it was an interesting position. I'll have to re-look at that, or actually look at that d5 idea. Let's play a Caro-Kann against an IM. GM Talentoso. Alright, they played the exchange. Okay, against this, I think knight c6, immediately put pressure on d4, and then stop bishop f4 with queen c7, and then knight e2 is usually played. Alright, their idea is knight b5. That seems annoying, so I'm gonna prevent it. They want a tempo to bring their knight to c2, but is that such a big win? Maybe, if their bishop's not coming to f4 now. But if it was still coming to f4, I feel like they've lost time. So now my question is, do I want to bring my bishop out? It has no squares before e6, or do I want to delay bringing it out? I would love to get e6, bishop d6 quickly, but I think I can delay a turn and look for if there's an opportunity to activate my bishop outside the pawn chain. Now I'm going to play bishop d6 and very likely castle kingside. Though if they take, I will happily play on the g file. Yeah, so I was also threatening bishop h2 because the knight was pinned, or bishop f3, then bishop h2. I would like to keep the pin. It should be noted, this move doesn't combine well with h6 in general, because if they chase my bishop again, I have to retake an uncomfortable way, and they take e6 at the end. So I'm tempted to play bishop f4 here, force the action with their bishop. I am trading my good bishop for a weaker bishop, but I get a lot of pressure on f3 if they take. If they take f6, I have faith in the g file to be strong. So this seems like a trade that activates my pieces, though it might be trading a better piece for a weaker one. I also don't really want to castle either way, because if I castle queenside, I feel the c file could be a problem. Okay. Do I want to play the endgame or not? I do. I was wondering between king d7 and castles. I think I'm going to play king d7. Try to keep my king in the center of the action. If knight f3, I will take it. Okay. Now I probably have to play b6. This might have been a mistake. But maybe I'll play a5 next. Ooh. I don't want to give up all these light squares. I'm going to start with king c7, ready to play knight d7 to meet knight c5. I have to speed up. They're way ahead of me on the clock. Knight c5, knight d7, and I'll play bishop g6 soon to trade off their bishop, which is a good bishop. It controls a lot of squares that, they want controlled, those light squares. So I'll trade the bishop, then I'll trade the knight, and depending on how they take back, I'll probably play for a nearby pawn break, like d4 or b4, depending on which one they leave open. So we're going to play for d4. This pawn gets weak if we can take it. Happy to play e5. It supports the break I want to play for. I will also likely play g5 if they play rook g3. These pawns actually look pretty stable to me. f4, well, let's just prevent it. Looking to play d4. Do I want rook h4 or rook d7 and rook d8? I think rook d7 and rook d8. Because then I'm not as pinned. Their knight is very good at defending these squares, but they're also now very tied down to preventing the d4 push. I'm not really doing anything other than the d4 push. Maybe I could reposition my knight, but I don't really think I want to. So I'm not sure how to improve my position. I'm going to make a waiting move. Let's see what they want to do. I don't see a good way to improve my position, so I would be, I think, happy to make a draw here. I'm going to start expanding a little, trying to get in a rook h7, maybe. Okay, let's play e4. If I swap off all the rooks, I feel my knight has quick access to e5. That's what I'm hoping. They have this passed pawn that's very good. Okay, knight e5, knight d3, king c8. I think I'm okay. But I could easily be mistaken. This is getting dangerous. Knight d3, I do not threaten knight takes b4. Which I really wish I was. Because then their rook would defend their knight. I'm going to try to play e3 next, I think. Okay, can't. Alright, let's... Ooh, knight e6. Oops, terrible blunder. Alright, but the position had gotten tough anyway. I handled something around here badly. Maybe the e4 push. Maybe the f5 push already. Like, what if I play rook h8? They can win the d pawn, but they can't do much with the d file. Like d6, what are you really threatening? If I pick up here, maybe I can come here, start hitting their pawns. So they probably, against rook h8, play king g3. And then I'm going to have this problem here. And maybe they just are going to march their king. Go away. March their king up and infiltrate, and it's going to be hard to defend everything. So I'm a little tied down. I thought I was doing okay around here. I didn't find a plan, as I think I said. So I should just go for d4 anyway. Alright, that's good to know, yeah. I was hesitant to give up what felt like a strong pawn center, but yeah. Alright, 1 for 2. Interesting problems there that I wasn't capable of solving in the time control. Let's play another Caro-Kann. Maybe get a line this time that I know a little better. Meaning knight c3 or knight d2, because I know nothing else at all. Go for this, knight f6, bishop d6, castles, rook e8 line. You can basically pre-move these moves. There's nothing White's gonna do that's gonna really interrupt them. My bishop has f5 and g4 as well as e6, but I'm gonna wait on developing my bishop and bring my knight to f8, where I'm confident it belongs, and only then figure out what to do with my bishop. Might still go to e6. I could also play bishop c7, hinting at queen d6 at some point. e6 or f5? I think e6. I don't really want to have to deal with defending this pawn. Maybe now it'll go to f5 and e4 though, and threaten the defender of h2. Okay, now I have this juicy d5 square, which means this pawn is a weakness because it can't be protected by other pawns, and it can't... what was I saying? Oh, could I have taken on h3 there? Might have had a takes h3. I'm going to repeat in the hopes that they play on knight f3 and I can rip on h3. I'm on d4 right now. Okay, sadly they did not give me my hopes and dreams. Can always play g6 and f5, but I don't really like it. I'd like to activate my knight, and knight g6, I'm not actually sure how I want to take back with my pawns. So, how to push this? Can still take on h3. Queen takes, I hit h2 and h4. So bishop h3, gh3, queen h3, knight f5, queen h2, king f1, queen h1 is mate. I think I can go for it. I'm also threatening the bishop h2, bishop g3 thing, though the mate is actually on h1, not on f2 because the queen defends, but because my rook's on the e file. I think this is a win. I don't see how they can escape it. And a glorious win for the Caro-Kann. I will favorite this game so I can come back and check it someday. Yeah, so I just take... Ooh, what's the best finish here? It's a... So rook e3 followed by queen h4 is obviously very good. Queen h2, king f1, rook e3, fe3, queen c2 does not win their queen because it's defended. I can always grab h4 there. I can also go to h1 and grab the other rook. But actually, I don't know what the cleanest win is here. I thought I had misclicked resigning for a sec, so I was scared. Alright, rook takes e3. It says bishop h2 first, but just take this one, because they don't have queen f2 because d3 falls. Yeah. And if somewhere here I come back, and if here I can always check on h3 because their queen can never block without losing d3. Alright, so bishop takes h3, play it and win. There's a wonderful game by Ali Reza Firouzja who played it, who MVL called a potential future world champion, and he's right. Firouzja is amazing. Let's play e4. Where he played this line against Andrew Tang on Lichess. It's one of the highest rated games played on Lichess. And I think I'll take knight f3. Fe5, knight g4 is annoying. I don't want to play h3. This looks very passive. But I also don't want to spend a lot of time in the opening. Now it's just going to be hard to get castled. So I'm going to play f5. Try to make sure the center doesn't open up if my king is going to be loose. I would predict c6 here. And I think I'm going to try to castle queenside quickly. Okay, I'm just going to come back to d2. I feel really crummy about this opening position. and want to make sure nothing collapses. They were threatening knight e4, and my bishop isn't doing a lot there if it's not pinning the knight. Where do I want my bishop? c4 just gives them queenside activity. d3 possibly gives them activity as well. They might be threatening on knight h5, knight g3 sometimes. Ugh. Anyways, I'm going to go to d3 because I don't see another square. I could have played queen e2 first, but do I want a4? I hope not. This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to try to push a g4, g5 and get some counterplay. If b4, I'll play knight d1, because I think that can swing more actively to useful parts of the board. Alright, if b4, I can take, and then take on a4, one way or the other. Alright, g5, knight h5. So if I move my knight first, they won't have that. But where can I move my knight? That's at all useful? I don't know. I could play knight a2 and try to occupy b4, but they'll just move the bishop and then play c5. I could play queen g2, h4, h5, and then g5. That seems very slow, but I need to defend g4 if I want to play h4, h5, and I need to play h4, h5 before g5 to make sure they don't have knight h5 to g3 or something of that ilk. So I'm going to try queen g2. It also gives my bishop potential retreats. b4, I still think I can just take it. Alright, gotta speed up. But my idea here is h4, h5, and then g5. Okay, I don't think I mind them taking on d3. That does solidify my center. Okay, I do not want to give that pawn for nothing, but it is hard to defend because they're going to have rook d8. So I probably just have to, so let's go for it. g6. I'm assuming knight f4 here, and I have to take. I might play h6 next, just try to open it up, but I don't think I have enough. I'm just hoping for initiative. I have to take this. Why did I take so long on it? h6 or gh7? gh7. Their bishop defends g1. I don't think this works, but I would be scared if I was them facing, a 200 lower rated opponent and having to defend this. If f6, maybe queen g5, try to get it on f6 myself. Ooh, no fear. Okay, if I play f6, how do they defend mate? I don't see it. Is that not just mate on g7? I think we got him. I'm starting to talk too early because, alright, if they're just giving up pieces. Rook g8 doesn't even help because after I take it, I take on h6 with checkmate. Yeah, so I think I did a nice job of creating practical chances out of a pretty disastrous opening. I think this position is just minus 0.7 or something. Hey, it's at minus 0.7 immediately. It didn't settle on that, but I feel that's a good call. Yeah, I think this is just a bad position. It's interesting that I should have gone for g4 even quicker. I thought I did a good job eventually trying to find counterplay. I did consider a4, but maybe only next move after a5. But yeah, very tough position out of the opening. We should probably go back and look at that just so I don't, get a terrible position again. So it's just supposed to play knight f3. I'm not supposed to take. My curiosity on knight f3 is what's my threat? Am I looking to take on e5? Yes. But I want to be able to double take on e5 before they have bishop c5, so when they play knight g4, they don't fork f2 and e5. Okay. Interesting. Alright. 2 for 3. Or 3 for 4? 3 for 4. 3 for 4. That was a good one. I feel good about that one. It was a terrible opening, but did what I could to create some kind of play. And I liked my idea of queen g2, h4, h5, g5, g6. Let's go for a Dutch. Looking to play in a Nimzo style. Ooh, I like this line for white. They can play for this e4 break. So I'm going to really quickly try to wreck their pawns. I don't think they should allow me to, because then anytime they play e4, we trade, and they're left with these horrible doubled pawns. So I'm going to take the first chance I get. I also didn't have time for b6, given that they played g3. I'm going to play h6, because their bishop has to make a decision. It can't just retreat. They should probably keep the two bishops, otherwise I'm not sure what they have. I think I'll play d6, knight c6. It's just hard for them to have a pawn break. Can I play b6? Knight d4? No. Okay. Maybe I'm even going to play like rook b8, but I should probably play queen e7 and get the rook like more towards the important part of the game. Alright, they played there anyway. Do I care about doubled c-pawns? Little. So let's avoid them. I want to make sure they don't get rid of this pawn. That's my main strategic concern. And that means I think I just want to play rook b8, maybe just b6. They don't have queen a4, they can't add pressure that way because I have knight d4 discovering on their queen. So if I just play b6, maybe even a5, how do they fix their pawns? That's the question I pose. I might play e5 someday, force the question. That's probably a good idea. But I don't want to allow c5 check, so it's probably a terrible idea. But maybe I'll play king h7 or king h8. Not sure which. Okay. So they hit two pawns. I can play knight a5. I can insert that. Because knight c7 is met by queen d8 and I win a piece. So I think I'm going to start with knight a5. Because I don't like allowing on queen d8, knight a7, bishop c6, knight c6. You know, some kind of thing on c6. Or they couldn't take on a7 there, but queen d8, something like bishop c6, knight a7, I thought could be annoying. I don't want to take on b5, but, ooh, their bishop controlling a8 makes queen d8, knight a7 possible for them. I don't want to take that. What can I do that doesn't take, that holds my pawns? Queen d8. Oh, I can come to, no, I can't come to a8. Why do I keep thinking I can come to a8? I hate what I've done. I can't even play a6, knight c7, queen c8, trapping their knight because they have queen d6. Alright, I'm going to take it. My position's bad now. Yeah, don't like this at all. Alright, let's try to block their bishop hitting a8. If c4, I'm going to play, I don't know, dc4, I guess, and hope that my pawns aren't just ruined. Ooh, don't like this position. Not at all. Alright, which pawn are they going to take back? They should take back the c4 pawn, certainly. Yeah. How do I hold anything? I don't know. Alright, let's pretend we're mating them. We can mate them with two pieces, queen and knight. Ugh. Very bad position. Why did I not take on e2? I don't know. Because I thought my only chance was and rook e1, rook e6 is very annoying there. Ugh. Terrible. Alright. We're going to push the e and f pawns. That's the only plan here. They're going to play b6, b7, b8. It's totally crushing. They should immediately do it. Yeah. Okay. f4, pretending we have an attack. If b7, I think I have to play rook b8. c5, c6, c7 looks good to me. Where's my attack? It's nowhere. Nowhere at all. Alright, they're doing it with the a pawn. I'm going to try to grab c4. We're going to switch to materialism. Yeah. Fair enough. I can play f3 at some point. So I'm threatening f3 and knight c5, and then I can grab b7. Their rook was on f3, so I didn't actually get that to work. But can't even take it. Life's very sad. Can we keep this going? Let's try to, I don't know, come to somewhere. d6. Yeah. Well played. Alright, 3 for 5. I wanted to go back and look at the first game, I think, because I wanted to consider how I'm supposed to deal with this quick bishop c5, h5 line. So this is all book. So maybe I'm supposed to play d4 before castling, but okay. So you'll see castling is a very good win percentage for black here. Black scores 60% in 50 games, which is, tremendous. With h5. So I should not castle here. I should play d4 or b3 or something that delays it. For instance, if d4, if h5 anyway, I just play h3. Then we get the f5 line, but this is, I think... Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, I always screw up this position too. So you don't go for de5 here. Instead you go for gf5, bishop f5, and somehow it all gets neutralized. Somehow there's just not too much to worry about. But how? I thought there was a clean line from something like this. I never find it. d5, knight c7, f4. Oh, it's complicated, isn't it? Alright, well, let's not explore that right now. What about, like, if b3, h5, h3, h4... Because I always get in trouble in these lines after f5. Yeah, this feels scary. Feels real scary. And I had seen this idea with bishop c6 and de5. Now here I can't play it because hg3, if I've played bishop c6, my h1 rook's not defended. The computer's still happy. I need to look at these on my own. I get in trouble in these positions, and it's pretty obvious why. It's a scary pawn advance. Alright, cheers. 3 for 5.